The 17 most badass American muscle cars of the 60s and 70s. 7.1969 AMX-3. A beautifully stylish mid-engine exotic was the AMX-3. Its development was a result of an international partnership between the AMC design team led by Dick Teague, Ital Design, BMW, and Italian engineer Giotto Bizzarini. The AMC 390C V8 engine, which had 340 horsepower and was mated to a 4-speed manual transmission, drove the 3,300-pound sports vehicle. It purportedly had a top speed of 170 miles per hour and a stated acceleration time of little over 5 seconds to 60 miles per hour. But due in part to expense, the device never really arrived at AMC dealerships. It would have needed a sticker price of a few $1,000s less than Lamborghini's Miura, which was said to be close to $15,000. Fast fact: this car had 6 prototypes made, plus a rumored 7th parts car, some of which wound up in individual garages. These surviving AMX-3s resemble production vehicles more so than they do early models. And one of them fetched nearly $900,000 at auction in 2017. 8.1984 Chevy Corvette. The Corvette's third generation, which ran from 1968 to 1982, was America's sports automobile. As a result, there was a lot of speculation about the C4 Corvette when it came time for GM to introduce it. A mid-engine chassis, a la an Italian exotic, was one of the predictions made. Others speculated that it might have a rotary engine similar to Mazda's. The following Corvette wasn't that innovative in the end. Rear wheels were still being driven by a small block Chevy V8 up front. It produced only 205 horsepower in its initial year. However, horsepower increased, along with performance, after a later changeover to a new, optimized port fuel injection system. The first ultra-performance Corvette since the 1960s was introduced by Chevy 5 years later with the 375 horsepower ZR1. Fast fact: there isn't a 1983 Corvette in production. Chevy chose to delay the introduction of the brand new vehicle until the 1984 model year, even though 1982 was the final year for the third-generation Corvette. Why? According to some accounts, extra time was needed for development because of stricter emissions requirements. Others contend that manufacturing errors were the real cause. The only 1983 Corvette prototype that survived, a white automobile that is currently housed at the National Corvette Museum in Bowling Green, Kentucky, is the only one we know was destroyed. 9. 1969 Dodge Charger Daytona. The 1970 Plymouth Superbird and the 1969 Dodge Daytona are two of the most avant-garde cars to come out of the muscle car wars. However, contrary to what its name may imply, the Daytona was not intended for street racing. It was designed to win NASCAR races on the longest and fastest courses, the super speedways. The fastest county in America, and archive engineers brought the Charger to a wind tunnel to enhance top speed. The large Dodge was given aerodynamic upgrades such as a larger, slanted nose cone, a roughly 2-foot-tall rear wing, and a flush-back window. Impressive outcomes were obtained. The Daytona race car made history by becoming the first NASCAR vehicle to surpass 200 miles per hour. Following several victories by Dodge in 1969 and a few by Plymouth in 1970, NASCAR's new rulebook outlawed these vehicles. The production cars, which had the iconic 426 Hemi or the 440 Big Block, are now highly sought-after collector cars and sell for over $150,000 at auctions. Fast fact: the Daytona was given aerodynamic upgrades over a conventional Charger, resulting in a coefficient of drag that was 0.28, which is great even by modern standards. But was the height of that enormous rear wing really necessary to enhance rear and downforce? No, according to lore. The wing's inflated height was necessary for the production car's trunk lid to slide underneath it and fully open. 10. 1965 Pontiac Catalina 2+2. Many people consider the high-performance GTO variant of Pontiac's Tempest to be the first muscle car, and it seriously heated up the automaker's portfolio for 1964. The next year, Pontiac made the decision to use that same magic on its larger vehicles. To do this, they created the 2+2 performance model by installing a 338 HP, 421 CV8 into the brand new big-body Catalina. powerful vehicle, especially if you spend a little extra money to upgrade to the 421HO, which produced 376 horsepower. The 2+2 was known for its wide, 8-lug hubs, stronger suspension, bucket seats, Hurst shifters, and distinctive badging. Fast fact: before reaching the hands of reporters, the high-performance vehicles Pontiac provided to the automotive press in the 1960s were sent to Royal Pontiac in Royal Oak, Michigan. In addition to being a dealership, Royal was a tuning facility that provided customers with Pontiac-approved speed items. The Catalina 2+2 that car and driver tested at the time could not only hit 60 miles per hour in 3.8 seconds and charge through the quarter mile in 13.8 seconds, but it was also faster around the track than the Ferrari the magazine used in that comparison test, so it's likely that some of the best parts ended up on these Pontiacs. It's safe to say that without some Royal speed components, no factory-equipped Catalina 2+2 could replicate that achievement. 11. 1970 Oldsmobile 442. The 442 was built on the Cutlass and became the hottest muscle car for the Oldsmobile division. Its name comes from its 4-barrel carburetor, 4-speed manual transmission, and dual exhausts. It shared a basis with the Pontiac GTO and Chevy Chevelle SS, two other hot GM vehicles. The 442 was initially just a trim level, just like the GTO. But by 1970, a massive 455C big block V8 was available. And the motor produced 360 horsepower and a mind-boggling 500 pound-feet of torque when outfitted with the even more powerful W30 components. It had an extremely speedy acceleration time for the time, especially for an Olds, being able to reach 60 miles per hour in less than 6 seconds. Fast fact: in the Nora Mexico 1000, which served as a forerunner to the Baja 1000, actor James Garner competed in the beefed-up 1970 Olds 442 that finished second in its class. The famed Baja race car builder Vic Hickey created the Goodyear Grabber, which was supported by Goodyear tires. Recently, the car was refurbished and placed up for sale. 12. 1978 Pontiac Firebird Trans Am. The performance of muscle cars had almost completely diminished by the late 1970s. The most recent emissions regulations, along with rising gas prices and skyrocketing insurance costs, forced the majority of automakers to drastically reduce horsepower. Nevertheless, not Pontiac. After playing the lead in the film Smokey and the Bandit, the Trans Am experienced a surge in popularity. Pontiac added to the excitement for the 1978 model year by actually upping the top Trans Am's horsepower from 200 to 220. The company also created a unique handling package known as the WS6 that had wider 8-inch wheels, new tires, a sport-tuned suspension, and quicker steering. As a result, the Pontiac Trans Am outperformed the Chevy Corvette in terms of speed and track performance. Fast fact: the Pontiac's T-top roof was the closest a buyer could get to a convertible Trans Am when it initially became an option in 1976. Hurst was the first manufacturer of these lift-out roof parts, which were referred to as Hurst hatches. They leaked, which was the issue. Because of this, Pontiac worked with GM's Fisher Body division to create its own T-tops, which it introduced in the middle of the 1978 model year. Hurst T-tops are therefore present in certain 1978 Firebirds, while Fisher units are in others. The Fisher glass roof panels are larger than the Hurst hatch ones, so you can tell the difference. Want more information like this? Let us know in the comments below. Like, subscribe, comment if you learned something new.